another episode of Empowered Choices podcast. I'm Idris Naimatu, your host for today, and we are coming to you live from the Yankasa Podcast Studios here in Latopia Okoshi. Today, I have here with me an ambassador, Mamaga. So I would give her the opportunity to introduce herself, and I'll introduce the topic for today. Mamaga, please carry on.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for inviting me to your studio. My name is Mamaga Bumbede, Nkoswahima the First of Avaga, Traditional Council of Nsawam, Adriajuri. And I'm a person living with HIV. I have known my status for 23 years now. And I'm a mother of one. I'm a mother of one because I had two and I lost one. So I'm a mother of one, a proud mother of one, of course. And I've been an ambassador since 2011 for the Ghana AIDS Commission. Once an ambassador is always an ambassador. And I'm a CADA, that's a model of hope. And I support the clinic at the Fevers unit, that's IDC at Kolebu Fevers unit, there to give hope to the newly diagnosed and to encourage them to adhere to treatment so that life can be as easy for them as it is for me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that powerful introduction. But then before we head straight to our topic for today, I would want to ask, so there's this myth and misconception that, if once you have HIV, you can't give birth. I mean, for the layman out there, they always say that if you have HIV AIDS and if you give birth, your child also gets it. So how do you have a child? I mean, I understand, but then for the layman out there, some people still follow that myth. Is there a way we can debunk that, or how?
Yes. Thank you for that question. And I didn't give birth when I got to know my status. I gave birth before I got to know my status.
Okay.
My child was 9 years before I got to know my status. But to the public, one thing I want them to understand is that knowing your HIV does not prevent you from giving birth to a child.
Okay.
If there is an intervention called prevention of mother-to-child transmission. So as a pregnant woman, you get to the facility, you are being asked or avail yourself for HIV testing. So when you avail yourself for testing, one good thing about the test is that it may come out as negative or as positive. So when it is positive, quickly you are being counseled and then put on antiretroviral. But why is it so? As a woman living with HIV with pregnancy, the possibility of transmitting the virus to your baby is very high. And you have three means of transmitting the virus to a baby as a pregnant woman. Firstly, the mother can transmit it through during pregnancy, during labor and delivering, and it can be after birth, that is during breastfeeding. So it is possible you can. So all in this intervention, what happens is that you are being given antiretroviral when you are positive so that it can prevent the baby from getting infected in the womb. The medication reduces your viral load because once your viral load is suppressed, the possibility of transmitting the virus to the unborn baby is very low. That is so for us, we should know that whether you and your partner are positive, you can still give birth to a negative child.
Thank you so much, Mamaga. I hope we have that myth debunked. So straight into our questions and then introducing our topic. So today we would be talking about HIV self-stigma, and then we are diving straight into how to reclaim your identity once you've been diagnosed with HIV. So Mamaga, our first question to you is, can you take us back to the moment when you received your diagnosis? What was going through your mind, and how did your future look like to you? How did you envision your future? Did you think that all had ended for you?
Thank you very much. 23 years ago when I got diagnosed, I didn't move to the facility to know my status. Okay. I was a recruit in one of the uniform services.
Okay.
So there, my blood sample was taken. In fact, we were asked to avail ourselves for sugar diabetes test, which I did, but the result came out to be HIV positive, which was so strange. How can a sugar diabetes test turn into HIV? So it was during Easter, and we were asked to go home for holidays. In fact, when I got to the house, it wasn't easy for me because it was something I wasn't expecting to know or to do. So I have to go to police hospital to confirm what I was told, because during the my antenatal, I used to see something written there. What do you call it? There was something about HIV, so I decided, okay, if HIV test is being done here, why don't I go to confirm? So in fact, when I went there to confirm, it was really positive. And what happened there was very, very terrible, because, when you move to the facility to know your own status, different the mood. If you're under pressure, different the mood. So the counselor that day was so smart that she realized I wasn't
yourself again.
Yes, that someone was pushing me to get to know my status. In fact, I told her the truth. She got angry, not with me, but with the entity that did that to me. So my test was done, and she told me, in fact, before the test, she took me through pre-test counseling, which for me to know what the result may be or not. Then when the result came, truly it was positive, and she gave me 2 envelopes to be given. She said one is mine and the other one is for the where I'm coming from, the training school that I'm coming from. So out of curiosity, in fact, I have to open the dear envelope to know what was in it. In fact, she wrote long English, but the short of it was that our client is strong and healthy. Do not do anything stupid to her. So I went there. I took the letter, and when I got to the school, the discrimination and the stigma started right from there. I was prevented not to enter into the classroom. I was at administration for more than 2 hours, standing, not inside. And then when every instructor get there, what are you doing? I said, I'm waiting for Asimisi. So it got to a time I realized that the tension was too much, and I have to call the man to tell me why I'm standing there. So he came out just to tell me the order from above that I should go home because of my status.
But not to cut you off, but then how did the school get to know your status? Who revealed that to them? Isn't it supposed to be something confidential?
I told you that they said we should avail ourselves for sugar diabetes. Yes. So without my consent, they did HIV test. And that is how they got to know that I'm positive. Meanwhile, I didn't know that I was positive. So it didn't end there. As I left the training school, I got home and life became so terrible. Instead of them living my life for me, now whoever asks, why did she go home? Because we were left about 1.5 months for me to pass out. So I shouldn't have gone home, because our names have been to controller and accountant general already. We were only waiting for our uniform. We were doing rehearsal to pass out. So it's so strange to let someone go home there. So when they are asked, the answer to them is that she had AIDS. They don't say HIV. They said AIDS. By then we were not using mobile phone. We're having Ariba. So I'll receive a call from Ariba center when I go, and then colleague will say, Gifty, we've heard you have AIDS. Somebody will say, we heard you have HIV AIDS. They just mix everything up. So it became too much for me, and life was not easy. I've lost my job. My dream job has been taken away. Now my dignity is also been what? And it was a lot of things. So it wasn't easy for me. And it got to a time I took a decision, because then there was no medication. Nobody even understands the meaning of HIV or AIDS. Everybody says AIDS, AIDS, AIDS. How will I even tell this to my mother, who does not even understand anything? And as a single mother as well. So life became so terrible. I said, okay, for me to become that skeleton for people to laugh at, let me take my life. So truly, I drank a concoction that could have taken my life. But today, as I'm sitting here, I might say that God has a purpose for me. Nothing happened to me, not even stomach ache. And I survived the concoction. And took me so many years. I was in hiding for 4 years. I wouldn't talk to anybody. Even when I go to, you see, HIV comes with self-stigma. That's internalized stigma. Nobody knows what is wrong with you, but you think, and I call it inferiority complex. So, nobody knows what, but you think someone is looking at you, somebody is watching you, somebody is reading everything about you. So it really, really kept me in the shadow.
So with time, how were you able to overcome that internalized stigma?
Yeah, what helped me was that I think in the year 2000, I was diagnosed in 2003. So somewhere 2007, I decided to go to hospital. And then at the facility, I heard women talking about a support group. So I didn't know what support group means. So I only asked them, what do you mean by support group? So they told me it's a group of people living with the same condition that gives psychosocial support. So then I would like to join. So when I joined the group, in fact, there was this society called organization called Society for Women and AIDS in Africa. They, in short, SWA. They always come in to give talk on HIV, and their talk, in fact, empowered me, because I thought in the next 5 years I'm dying, and nothing of that sort happened. So out of their education, it made me change my mind, and in fact their education built my capacity. So
thank you so much for that. And I mean, we are grateful that you didn't take your life and then you are here. And then in 2003, you walked into that hospital and got that support group. So my next question is, many people feel like HIV kind of rewrites your identity. What helped you separate your diagnosis from your sense of self?
Yeah, what helped me was that I availed myself to know much about HIV. And that's my condition, not your condition. So if I don't know much about my condition, how do I deal with it? So I avail myself to learn, go for workshops, conferences, wherever there is a gathering on HIV talk, I am always there. So knowing much about HIV and knowing that when I take antiretroviral correctly and consistently, and I have viral suppression, I will not have any opportunistic infection disturbing my system. I told myself I have to change my lifestyle. So I am a living testimony because I'm taking my medication. I am living well. I can do everything that everybody can do. Why won't I go out there and then preach the gospel according to HIV and then positive living? So that is what I did. It's really, really helped me. Hadn't been the support of those people. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So my next question will be, beyond the medical side of things, how did the diagnosis affect the way you saw yourself?
No, it initially affected me because I didn't give my consent to be diagnosed. And then after the diagnosis to everything. So there it got, I was affected. Or let's say I had emotional trauma. But after I had that empowerment, my sister, things change. Things change, and people around me begin to be surprised of how I took things easily, because I was one person who wouldn't take anything easily. It got to a time I was even given a psychologist, and the psychologist couldn't help me. Not that he couldn't help me, but he realized that I'm one person he could not do anything about. But when I'm to myself, I'll be able to come around. And really, to where he left me, I came around and I realized that life is all about me. It isn't about anybody. Yeah.
You spoke about the school kind of, they took you out and then they disclosed your status to the people and all that. So aside that, were there some sort of emotional and social challenges you faced in those early days?
Yeah. from there, I decided not to write application to any organization to look for a job. So I started doing things on my own. So from that time, I am okay, and then I overcame all those trauma. Yeah. Okay. But what I think doing was that I was helping to even build form a workplace, or let's say, how do you say, establish workplace policy on against stigma, so that people who are also living with HIV in other organizations or other firms will not go through what I have gone through. Yeah, that's what I did. But then it was after that one, I brushed everything off.
Okay. Thank you. And how has living with HIV shaped or reshaped the way your understanding of strength, love, and belonging, a sense of belonging in a community?
When it comes to shaping, HIV has really shaped me. You know, I'm very vocal, but HIV has made me more vocal, because I realized one thing about HIV is that if you are the one living with HIV and you don't try to overcome your internalized stigma, the external stigma will weigh you down. So I decided to take in charge of my own life. And when I took in charge of my life, I realized things had become okay for me. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody directs me what to do. Doesn't mean I don't listen to advice. I do listen to advice, but I think when you advise me or you counsel me, I weigh it and see whether what you told me will help me or not help me. So it has made life easy for me.
Okay. So in your earlier statement, I could see that the service provider was able to help you regain your confidence at that time, kind of trying to. So were there your family members and then your friends at that time, were they kind of supportive in that regard?
Actually, I don't have friends. Yes, everybody is my friend, but I don't have a talking friend or a friend that I discuss issue with.
How about the family?
But my family, I might say I salute them. I come from a family who are very lovely, and when they all got to know of my status, they all embraced me. And even when I wanted to come out to talk about my status, to share my status in the public, I informed them, especially my daughter, because she was my fear that she will face stigma from the society. Yes. So she was my fear. But, before I did that, I built her capacity as well. I always take her to workshops. Whenever there's workshop on HIV or stuff, I carry her along. So she got empowered there. So when I informed her that that's what I was going to do, in fact, she supported me. So I might say my family have been so supportive. Hadn't been them, I wouldn't have been where I am today.
Right. So thank you again. So back to the self-stigma, the internalized stigma. For somebody who may have just been diagnosed with HIV, what would you tell that person? How would you tell the person to probably deal with that internalized stigma, to be able to also overlook what will come their way?
Thank you very much. It is not easy. It is not easy at all. But let me tell you, it is your life. I always say that diagnosis helps you to move a step forward, because you didn't know whom you were then, but knowing your status will always inform you on what to do. If you keep yourself out of society, you might die. You might even commit suicide, like I tried committing suicide. So when you get diagnosis today, or you get diagnosed today, all I'll say is that to listen to your counselors, because the counselors will help you to take a decision or to, plan for yourself. In fact, everybody would die one day, but I wouldn't like you to die a death that is not yours, or that's not befits you. In fact, you must die your own. I said, die your own die. Make you not die somebody's dead. You see, what you have to do is that you need to accept the diagnosis.
Yes.
If you don't accept the diagnosis,
Most people
you can't
try
move
to
on.
live in denial.
Yes, if you are in denial, you will never access treatment, because if you accept your status, or you accept the test, one, it helps you to access treatment, and it helps you to what? Access what?
Okay.
Support, because there is always support for you. Sometimes when you talk about support, some people think about financial support. No, you can give somebody a whole financial support, but the person can never be helped. But the emotional support, that hearing counseling, the psychosocial support helps. So seek for those ones. In the facility, I mean, most of the government facility today in Ghana, you will find person living with HIV who is a model of hope, or a mentor mother who can help you go through your situations. And it's not easy. If I tell you it's easy, it's not easy, but you can make your own plan. Your own plan can help you. You ask yourself, how did this person came by looking this way? You can also do it, provided you're giving yourself the chance to be.
Thank you so much for that powerful advice to our listeners. So my last question to you will be, somebody who feels lost, the person has been diagnosed with HIV, what would be your last words of hope, or kind of like for the person to kind of find solace in that, and then also try to seek attention or seek for help, access that kind of health care?
If you are diagnosed today of HIV, please, what I'll advise you to do is that, as I said earlier on, seek for counseling. The counseling is the most important thing. Secondly, seek for a support group if there is one. If there is no one, look for a model of hope, or if you're a pregnant woman, look for a mentor mother to mentor you, because those people have been on treatment for a very long time, and you know what it takes to live a positive life. You know what? There's a lot of things to gain when you are taking antiretroviral. The most important thing is that you take your antiretroviral correctly and consistently. Taking antiretroviral, you don't go on holiday, you don't go on break. You don't say, today I'm tired, I'll take it tomorrow. Because the more you take the medication, the more you suppress the virus. The more you suppress the virus, the more you become strong. So all the opportunistic infection that will trouble you will vanish. They cannot trouble you again. You live a normal life. As I'm sitting here, I don't have any sickness. I am not sick. The only thing I have is that tiny virus in me, which I can control, because as I always say, I am the CEO of my own body. The virus cannot control me, because if you do the wrong thing, or you go contrary to the instructions given to you at the facility, you will face so many negative problems. If you don't take time, you might think that someone is bewitching you. Take your antiretroviral, live a positive life. Somebody will ask, what is a positive living? A positive living is one, accepting that your status, taking your medication correctly, happying yourself, relax whenever you are tired. If you feel like sleeping, eat a good diet. A good diet is not what you buy from restaurants. A good diet is what you get from the house. Exercise. Try to break your cholesterol, because our medication sometimes builds your cholesterol. So do things or eat things that will not increase your cholesterol. And again, when you go to the facility and you are given labs, I'll beg you, do your labs, especially your full blood counts, your kidney, your liver, your cholesterol. Those tests, don't joke with them, because if you joke with them, if you lose one of the organs that I'm talking about, it will be very difficult for you to replace. But as you do these tests periodically, I think if there is something that is about to happen to you, it can be prevented. So my brother or my sister, if you know your status today, please, that is your fate. Check it, because if your arm is chopped off when you are coming, everybody knows that your arm is chopped off. But with HIV, you have all your features, you have everything that it takes to be human. All you need to do is that you live a positive life, protect yourself, abstain from drink and other herbs that will damage your condition. That is all I can tell my people. And above all, people around us should accept us because we are human. We are not devils. We are human. We are just like them. It is just a little condition in which we find ourselves. A condition that is not airborne. A condition that is only when you come into contact with blood and other things. If you don't come to contact with my blood, how will you get infected? So we should give love, support our dear ones when they get diagnosis. That is the only way the spread of HIV can be ended. That is the only way we can achieve 95, 95, 95.
All right, so thank you so much, Mamaga, for joining us on this show. And then thank you so much for your wonderful word of advice to our wonderful listeners out there. So we've come to the end of our show all too soon, and you've been listening to us live from the Yankasa Podcast Studio. I am Idris Naimatu, and for more information, or if you'd want to access digital health or speak to trained nurses or doctors, you can call the Yankasa Contact Center on 0800 20 20 10. Taking it again, 0800 20 20 10, or you can WhatsApp us on 0245 11 8228. 0245 11 8228. Or you can as well visit the Young and Wise Africa platform for more information. Thank you.